DIY with Jane time. Welcome everybody. This is the finished heart.
It looks like copper, you guys,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
it looks like aged copper. I'm going to show y'all how to do this today. And we're going to do, thank you, we're going to do something really cool with this because we're going to work backwards. And I'm going to show you a technique that most of the time, I tried it today, and I'm going to show y'all a technique that goes against the grain. So,
But it worked.
But it worked, and it turned out what I thought was fabulous, and y'all apparently think so too. So I'm going to show y'all how to create this finish today. All right?
Awesome.
So here we go. So let me talk to you a minute about flower pots and how I do flower pots. I have lots and lots of flower pots that I've done. I've done lots and lots of flower pots, and I use my rock hard top coat to do my flower pots with. And these flower pots stay outside all the time. And so I just want to show you how well they hold up if you prep them correctly, how well they'll do outside. Okay, so this one has been outside for pretty close to a year now. Okay, and this one has two, and this is one that I used, I stamped on a decoupage. I stamped on a napkin, a piece of, actually, let me correct that. I stamped on a piece of white tissue paper, and I decoupaged this onto here, onto this flower pot. And this is another one that's been sitting outside now for about a year. So, and I've got many more out there. They usually get broken before the finish comes off of them. So, if you're going to use your flower pots outside, the first thing you should do, obviously, is clean them very well. But the second thing you need to do is seal them all the way around. You need to seal the inside and you need to seal the outside. And you need to do that. Probably this particular step, the first step of sealer, it doesn't necessarily matter because you're just trying to seal up the pores. But I always use an exterior top coat to seal mine. And then I put a coat of paint. And then I seal them again. And the reason you want to seal your pot the first time is because this terracotta absorbs water. And if you don't seal the entire pot, the water will soak into your pot and it will push your paint and your finish off the front of it, okay? So you always have to seal these terracotta pots before you start painting on them. And then they'll last forever, okay? So we're gonna start with this pot and we're gonna put a bird on here. I wanna do a bird. All right, so this is birdsong mold.
And that's cornstarch.
And this is cornstarch, and I always dust my, just as a rule of thumb, it's good to dust your molds before you put the paper clay in them, just to be sure they don't stick. They just come out a lot easier if you do that. Typically they come out pretty easy anyway, but it's just kind of an insurance policy to make sure. So these molds, it's good to try to keep them as flat as possible. And I, like Mara, try not to use a lot of paper clay. You know, I try to only use as much as I need so that I don't have a lot of cleanup. It makes for a cleaner mold if you can keep it kind of flat and kind of color in the lines instead of having a lot all spread out over the sides of your mold. You do have the micro rim that makes it really easy to clean up. But the more you work with these molds, the better you get at kind of gauging how much paper clay you need to fill it. And it just makes for a cleaner, crisper mold and a lot less work, really, if you can just kind of get the feel for how much clay to get in the mold so you don't have a lot squishing out over all the sides. And then you just peel it out naturally. Peel out your little bird. And they just roll out so easily. All right, so we're going to put our little bird on here. And we're going to set this one aside.
and they can still see it, but that way they can see how pretty it is.
It's such a beautiful bird. And I'm going to do that metallic finish on this pot when the bird dries. But you need to use, if you're going to use that metallic finish, you need to let your mold set up and dry because you're going to be using some pressure. And so, you know, you don't want to, you know, this is wet, and if you use too much pressure, you'll lose all your detail, and you need that detail to create the finish. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to do this old world finish. This I've put a I did a paper clay impression of one of these crockery stamps. So I rolled it out real nice and thin, and then I pressed my crockery stamp down into it and peeled it off, and then I put it on this pot, and then I rubbed the edges around nice and thin so that it looks like it's a part of this pot, see, all along like this. And so now we're going to start this copper metallic finish on here, okay? All right, so the first thing we're going to start with is wax. And I've had this idea in my head for the longest time, and I wanted to try it, and so today's the day, and I think it worked out really well. I think y'all are going to like this. But it's very against the grain. Okay, so we're going to put some clear wax down. And like I always like to, this is my bucket of wax brushes. And I never wash my brushes or clean my wax brushes. I just leave them in here. But I have a clear wax brush. I have a couple, actually. I have a white wax brush. I have a couple of those, actually. I have some dark wax brushes. I have about 3 of those. I have a furniture salve brush, which is just it's a different product that I use. It's not a product I sell, but it's called furniture salve. And then I have my turquoise, my shipwreck brushes. So I have a brush for every color of wax. The brown and the black wax I kind of interchange, but for all the others I have one brush per color. Okay, I don't mix and match my colors with my waxes because it compromises the finish on your piece when you start like a white wax brush. If you use it with the clear wax, you're going to muddy up that finish just a little bit. You know, I mean, it's not going to be a lot, but it is going to change the color of the wax, obviously. Okay, so but I don't wash them. I just leave them there like that. So, and they get kind of stiff, but the moment you dip it into your wax and then rub it into your plate, the friction that you create by doing this warms the wax up, and it softens your brush right up so it's ready to go again, okay? So you don't have to worry about it. And now we're just going to start putting this wax on this pot. It takes a good bit of the wax initially because you're just going right directly onto this paint. But you can see it start to release onto your piece. And I don't really pay too much attention about if it's odd or, you know, if it's smooth or even. I just want to get good coverage. All right, there's that. I don't think I'll need any more of that clear, but I'll leave it out just in case. This is Shipwrecked. This is DIY's, it's kind of it's a patina wax, kind of a turquoise. And this is a Jamie Ray Vintage stencil brush. And I love her brushes for waxing. Probably I like her brushes better for waxing than stenciling, but they're excellent wax brushes. Okay, so let's get this on here. So we're going to start putting our patina on here, our wax. Okay, so now we've got this wax on here, y'all.
So we got clear coat, and then we got a shipwreck.
We got a clear coat. We got some Shipwrecked. Now we're going to move this out of the way. And we are going to put some Barnwood patina on here. Okay, so this is Barnwood patina. This is DIY's Barnwood patina. It's kind of a gray. We're just gonna put it over this.
Wait, you're too far.
Oh, am I? Sorry.
There you go. There we go. Perfect.
Let me get my hand up in here so I can get this where y'all can see it. And I'm just kind of slopping it on here, okay? Like so. You want to get the top little edge. It doesn't really matter too much what's going on inside your pot because, you know, you're going to have something in this pot. These pots are really fun to do a lot of things with too, y'all. They don't have to be flower pots, although this time of year they would make really cool spring gifts with some hyacinths or something like that in them. People would really love that. But you can also use them on your table as centerpieces. You can put a bread cloth in them and use them as a bread warmer because terracotta naturally holds heat. And so that, you know, makes it pretty cool. All right, so now we're going to rub this back a little. And start rubbing it back.
Yeah, that's what Betty says good for holding paintbrushes and other things. That's what we have.
Absolutely.
All of our paintbrushes are in pots.
Every one of them.
Every one of them. And we have a pot that has leftover foil. We have a pot that has leftover transfers. So we use them everywhere.
We do. They're great for that.
And they're fairly inexpensive.
They are. I think this little pot was less than $2. This little, I think they call it a flared pot.
Pam says I need to.
So you can take as much off as you want, y'all. You know, you just stop rubbing if you want more copper, see. See how it's settling down in the letters? The letters are keeping that copper there, okay? All right. See, this is what looked like a bomb went off in here because there's so many steps.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. What do you do now to it?
I'm going to put some dark and decrepit on there.
I wondered how you got it to that.
Yeah, so now we're going to use dark and decrepit, which should be on my table.
So red.
So now we're going back with, this is dark and decrepit, another DIY patina. Now, can you see how the wax is starting to act like a relief? See how it's beginning to pull back almost to the finish? But that's okay because that's what gives you, that's what's going to give you your aged look, see? So you want that. That's not a fail. That's a good thing.
Do you seal that or you don't seal it when you're done? You're just done?
No, you'll seal it. You'll need to seal it because we're not through with the wax yet. But see how it's beginning to pull all the way back to the paint? Can you see that?
Yeah, we can.
That's pretty cool. All right, so now we're going to take some dark wax. And we're going to work on this a little.
AS white chalk paint to AS clear wax to make white wax. She says she's made black that way. Well, that's cool. Yeah, definitely try it. You know,
Yeah,
what me and Jane
absolutely.
always say, try it. Don't come out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you'll say, well, that didn't work out, or either try it and you go, wow, that did pretty good.
So basically, when you're putting that on in those spots where it was pulling off,
It's going to darken it back up a little bit.
Susan says she loves it.
All right, so let's get some of this off of there. I may have to get me another rag here.
Well, everybody's talking about that, so we'll have to try it one day. Mix a color in with our wax and
Yeah,
do
sure.
a new color. Wow, that's so pretty. That's beautiful.
It is beautiful. All right, so now we have this step, right? We've kind of grunged it and it's sort of aged itself. And actually when I was putting this, this piece of paper clay on here, and I smoothed these edges out really, 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 really thin around here so that it looks like it's part of the pot. It doesn't really have, you can't really tell where the paper clay starts and the pot begins. So as I was rolling it around on my table, some of the paper clay just kind of picked up on the pot, and I just left it on there. And so that's added a little bit more texture and patina because of the way it's, you know, that paper clay's stuck on there, okay? All right, so here we go. So we've done every step now, but we have to add back our patina. So now what I'm doing is I'm driving this wax down into this stamp is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get this wax to go into these areas where it'll accent the patina a little. I'm not going to go all over the whole pot with it. Okay? I'm just going to go where it released, where we have this relief. See? All right. I love this shipwrecked wax. I love it. I love the color. I just have a hard time figuring out where I want to put it and how I want to use it because it is such a strong color. But I'm a turquoise girl. I love turquoise. So.
And you guys, if you take too much off, just add more on.
That's right. You just add it back. All right. So now, if that's too blue for you, you just go back in and add a little dark wax. If it's not blue enough, you put a little bit more blue on there. Can you see how the blue is now down in there and the copper's on the top? I think I like that a little better.
Yep, it does. It looks like an original old pot you'd find in Europe or somewhere.
Looks like a copper pot.
It really does.
So, okay, well, there you go. There's one, and then this is another one. I haven't quite finished it yet, but I'll show it to you real quick, and then I probably got to get off of here because it's 40 minutes, isn't it? This is another one I did today, and I used ink. I rolled out the paper clay, and then I inked my stamp, and then I pressed it in here, and that's how I got it to look like that. Yeah, a ton of steps, but they go pretty quick because you don't really have to wait for anything to set up and dry. You just keep moving because of that wax. You know, it just creates a different, I guess it's some kind of a different chemical reaction. I don't know, but anyway. So there you go. There's your metallic. There's your metal patina copper look. And as you can see, now they look pretty close to the same.
Yeah, but remember, one's on wood and one's on...
One's on wood and one's on clay.
So totally different.
So they'll always be different no matter, you know, you can do the same process, but it's always going to look different. But there you go. That's all done with DIY waxes and patinas. And I hope that inspires you to go do something wonderful and make one a flower pot for somebody. Thank you so much. Have a good Friday afternoon. Okay, peace. Take care.